another supposed to be title contenders this season, Chelsea. Um, at the end of last season, during the Club World Cup, it looked like Chelsea were going to be, untouchable, unbeatable, basically unplayable. How does a team go from destroying PSG the way they did, right, and sending the kind of signal that they did? How did they go from that to not being able to beat Lincoln, losing to Man United, which on its own is an insult, right? And then coming to lose again to Brighton,
at
3
home.
1. Just starting with you, David, and we'll go across the board. How does Chelsea go from one to another?
So if you could recall, we had this conversation. I think match week 2 or match week 3, and I said, Chelsea's game is patient build up from the back, but when it gets to the attacking third, there's a philosophy with Maresca, and I just let you guys do your thing, and that usually works well until teams figure it out. And I can remember presenting a scenario of his time at Leicester and then his first season at Chelsea, seeing how it usually works for a while and then at some point teams catch up. So I can, in that same vein, pin down the Club World Cup win to the new signings, that joined the team. You see, all season they had struggled with finding that number 9, finding that top striker, and then during the period of the Club World Cup, they became an unpredictable team because they had out of the blue, two strikers out of the blue, to add to that. And that new
Hmm.
energy, I believe, was what carried them through. If you look at the PSG game, Chelsea came with a counter plan for PSG's press. PSG basically throws you to the wolves by pressing you. Chelsea just came with long balls and then decided you're not going to be able to press us. That's fine and it's all good against PSG. It's when you then have to play against Lincoln City that there's a problem. It's when you then have to play against Brighton that there's a problem because then you have to go back to your original philosophy, play through the back to the midfield, and then get to the attack and lean on vibes. So the challenge is those vibes are not coming through. Fair to them though,
Coming through.
there's some personnel missing, for Chelsea. I looked at the back line against Brighton at the beginning of the game and I was like, what's going on? Then I found out, there are some injuries, here and there. But that's no excuse for them not to still get the win over
What
Brighton
to say now?
at home. It's not an excuse for them not to get that. But then when you and that's why I started this answer for the way I started it. When you think about a team that depends on vibes or the intellect of a certain group of players, when those individuals are missing, they run into trouble. When those individuals are not playing, they run into trouble. I can also pin down their back-to-back losses to managerial flaws. We've talked about Amorim and we've talked about people being stubborn. I don't think this individual is about stubbornness or hanging on to a philosophy. I think this individual's problem is poor reaction. He has a poor in-game reaction. That's Enzo Maresca. He is not
Hmm.
able to read what exactly is going on and what does my team need right now. I mean, the Johnny Boy and Dr. Toes were crediting Ateta for making the right calls, in today's game that panned off for them. I think Chelsea fans need to be asking for Enzo Maresca's weekly pay back because he has not earned that within the past 2 weeks.
Hmm.
With the calls he
I
makes
mean,
during the game, I don't think.
it kind of sounds a bit like quicksand to me. That once a manager gets into that position where your subs are starting to be questioned and everything, I think it's only a downward spiral from there. I mean, Johnny Boy, do you share the David's assessment that it's just chicken coming home to roost for Chelsea, basically? So the team quality, and I'm paraphrasing what David said, but basically that the team quality was kind of like carrying them through last season and through the Club World Cup. Now Maresca is getting found out basically because of the flaw in his setup. What do you make of Chelsea's situation now?
I question Chelsea owners, and I think every Chelsea fan is actually missing Abramovich at this moment because I started saying when their transfer window ended, and I said I looked at they bought Gittins, they bought Joao Pedro, they bought Delap, they bought Genacho, and they bought Zibuananote from Brighton. I'm like, bro, out of all these guys, there's it's only Joao Pedro I look at and say, okay, he's like an upgrade for that team though that can help the team, and I'm like, this is a team that spent close to over a billion in like 2 years or 3 years. I'm like, this doesn't make any sense. Are you trying to win the league or you're just okay make it top four? So what is the aim for the what's the aim of the owners? They will tell you they're trying to win, but the signings you're making tells me otherwise. So when I started that, I was like, you know what? I don't think Chelsea is going to win the league, but that doesn't mean that they should not compete to win the league because any Chelsea fan that is telling you that they're not going to, they're not competing to win, that's a lie. You're supposed to compete to win the league because you can't spend that amount of money without going for the league. Then now back to Maresca. Maresca is, I think David just summed it up. Even his time in Leicester, he started off well with Leicester, and then Leicester went a period of I think almost 3 months or so. They couldn't buy a win. What actually made them win the league that year was because of their early start of the season. That's why starting well is also helpful because that's what helped Leicester actually win the championship that year. And we saw the same thing last season against for Chelsea last season. They started well, got to like, I think Christmas period, and there was a huge dip for like almost a month or two. They couldn't win. And then towards the end of the season now, they picked up a little bit and were able to scrape and get to top four. And then, like David said, the Club World Cup, I think the new signings helped them as well. And also maybe a little bit of operability. Some people might say they've met some easy teams, but I don't want to give them that excuse because you're going to play whatever is in front of you. So I mean, Chelsea didn't go and pick Flamengo or pick Fluminense or whoever they met, right? Those guys actually beat somebody and got to the position,
Mm.
and then Chelsea beat them. So I don't want to give that an excuse. They deserve to win the Club World Cup, but that also maybe might have given them a false hope. Maybe they thought they were better than they were. So now I think Maresca is beginning. I don't know this truth about Kopama or Boss is looking likely because most of the time, if Kopama doesn't play well or doesn't play, Chelsea struggle. And that's the case. And then I didn't really watch the game yesterday, but it seems Maresca made the same error he made last weekend, which way when they went a man down, instead of leaving some attackers that can help carry the ball forward, he rather did what took out his attackers and brought in defenders. And what that does is that you're inviting pressure to yourself. That's exactly what you do when you do such stuff. You invite pressure to yourself. And more often than not, guess what's going to happen? That team is going to end up scoring. Now, unfortunately for Chelsea, they lost. Um, I still expect them to. I
Mm.
still expect them
Mm.
to be in the title race. They might not. They're definitely not going to win it, but and I don't know. They might actually end up sacking Maresca because I don't think Chelsea are scared of sacking managers. I think that's one thing. I think they will sack Maresca if he doesn't do so well. They will sack him. But I
I
think
mean,
Chelsea is just
he
a bit.
probably still has some time to right the ship.
For Chelsea, is for me, it's vibes and inshallah.
Mm.
They are not yet there because the major problem that they have is more of. I know they needed a striker or somebody that scores on from the wing or something, but they had a defensive gap to fill, and they never filled that gap coming into the league. So that is going to take a serious toll on them, considering they're in almost all the competitions. So their best bet is to start leaving the competitions early so that they can focus on the league and climb up. Right now, I'm still with Dr. Toves that Chelsea is in that they must be in that
They
title
have to
race.
be
They
now.
must
I
answer
mean,
their
they
name.
have to be. There's no excuse.
They have to be. There's no excuse. So whatever that the outcome is happens at the end of May, they should wait for us. We are coming. We're already in May waiting for them. So they should arrive early so that we can finish them. So I just feel it's at that point where the league is getting interesting now. The weaker teams are trying to okay, let's go, believe, snatch, get the point, try and score early and hold the game till as long as possible. That's what probably you'll be seeing around this time because everybody wants to get up. And those managers are also going to be on pressure to be sacked, right? So they also have to deliver something, even if it's 1 point against a big team. It's like 3 points for them. So
Mm,
that's what I feel. So it's going to
okay.
be a tough time
I mean,
considering Chelsea's fixtures in the next few games, right? Is also a tough time, a tough fixture that they're about to enter in this October. So we'll see where they are at the end of October and then see what they have to do with their injury list, right? They have a
yeah.
long injury list too. So
Are
Staying,
Chelsea
staying, staying
playing
with you,
playing
Jude.
Arsenal
Oh,
next?
No, no,
Or
they're playing
for
Liverpool
Liverpool,
next. Liverpool.